This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of CWK Live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Dan Zare. Thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Well, good journey to each and every one of you. Looks like we've got a lot of our friends here. We've got Anthony King. He says, hello, everyone. Sorry to miss last week. I was on vacation, caught the auto replay, and the Hasbro suggestions were awesome. Well, thank you. Hope you had a great vacation, and it's great to have you back. Aaron says, nice hat. Thank you, Aaron. It's great to see you. Really enjoyed you and David's conversation about the HasLab announcement. That was fun. Mary, happy Tuesday to you. Hope everyone has been safe from the storms and the 100% heat this week. Yes, indeed. Well, we had a bit of an incident with a tree. A tree randomly outside of our kitchen window split in half and just fell. There was no damage to our house or us, so that was great. The outdoor furniture, however, did not fare so well, but we were very lucky, and I hope everybody else is okay and not too hot. The storm is not affecting you too much. I hope you're all having a good time so we can talk some Star Wars. Hello, Blake. Great to see you, buddy. Daz is here. Hello, Daz. Daz is probably up pretty late or pretty early. So, Daz, welcome from London. Great to have you. Colby's here. He says he can't stay too long with a work conflict, but he's going to give us a list before heading out. Good. Looking forward to it, buddy. Hello, Ben. Good evening, CWK crew. Welcome to the number one podcast. So we are going to talk about Star Wars podcast. Actually, hello, LJ. Great to see you, buddy. Let's talk about the topic for today. So today, we're going to look at your top 5 Star Wars podcasts. Now, I asked, please don't include Coffee with Kenobi, and this is very kind and very gracious of you. But I just want to I feel like there's so many great shows out there, and not everybody knows about them. I thought this would be a great time to foster our wonderful community and share the spotlight, create a spotlight and focus on other Star Wars podcasts. Josh says this could be a long list. Yes, it could. And Josh, thank you for being here, buddy. We're also going to do some Star Wars trivia and your comments and questions. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
All right, hello everybody. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. We're going to do like a news segment, and then I'm going to focus on some merchandise and some great new collectibles that are coming out. There's not a ton of news, as you know. The writers' strike and the strikes in Hollywood are going on. So we certainly hope that gets resolved soon, and that everyone gets, compensated for their hard work, and then we create a nice level environment. And until it happens, the news may be slow, but maybe not. Disney released yesterday some amazing new images, posters, character posters that they do with these different Disney Plus Star Wars series of Ahsoka. I don't need to tell you that is Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. Absolutely stunning artwork. And he says, the honorable mention always to CWK. That's very nice of you, my friend. And Josh says the character posters look amazing. Yes, they do. They're awesome. So this is a new character to the Star Wars world. This is Baylan Skoll, Baylan Skoll. He is portrayed by the late, great Ray Stevenson, who we just lost not too long ago. I got to see him in Star Wars Celebration Europe, but just on stage. But he just seemed like such a warm, friendly, enthusiastic man. So he's definitely going to be missed. But this is a great way for us to get to enjoy him in the world of Star Wars. Aaron says he's holding out for the Chopper poster. Dude, you and me both, my friend. You and me both. Now, speaking of, I don't have to tell you, you know who that is. That is, of course, Hera Syndulla, the amazing Hera Syndulla. I've been pretty honest that I'm not quite sure yet if this actor is going to work for me as Hera. But you know what? She looks great there. She looks like Hera to me, so I'm optimistic that's going to work out, and she's going to be awesome. I mean, that poster is incredibly, incredibly cool. I can just hear people who are into Star Wars cosplay just going wild over this thing. Whoa, Christina's here. Just between patients at work, can't stick around. Want to say hi. Hello, Christina. Hello from Australia. We've got people from Australia, from London, and all over the United States on CWK. That's wonderful. It's great to see all of you. Christina will share her top 5 in the cafe later. That's great. That is great. We look forward to it, Christina. David is excited to see you as well, naturally. Josh says the world will miss him. The world will miss Ray Stevenson for sure. Let's look at the next picture. So, this is the Magistrate, of course, from the episode of The Jedi in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Her real name is suddenly escaping me, but I know what it is. Give me a second here to think about this. Magistrate. Somebody's going to pop in and share with me, I know. It is so ironic that I can't remember because I just had to do something with this character. All right, I'm going to have to cheat and I'm going to look it up on the website. So, oh well. I think it's important to sometimes admit that you don't always know. You know? Oh, Morgan Elsbeth, of course. Duh. I knew that. All right, good. I'm back. Back in business. Bruce Lee's goddaughter, Morgan Elsbeth. That is correct. Yeah, she's awesome. She's a really cool lady and a great character in the show. This is Sabine, of course. Sabine with the shorter hair. Most of the trailers you see her with the longer hair. And then, of course, you see the ceremonial moment when she cuts her hair. She's holding Ezra's lightsaber. And now that I'm seeing it in live action, I've seen it at Galaxy's Edge. Now that I'm seeing it in live action here, I'm thinking, gosh, why didn't I get that thing? Oh, well. We'll see. But that is a great looking image of live action Sabine Wren. Just listen to that. Just saying that out loud. That's pretty exciting. All right, then we've got the last image. This is, her name is Shin, I believe. Whoops. Let me see here. I'll check for you. She is another one of the new, Kashin is her name. She is one of the new villains from the Ahsoka series. And she looks pretty cool, I would say. Let me get that reloaded here for you. There we go. Yeah, her name is... Oh, I'm wrong. Her name is Shin Hati. Shinhati. She's played by Ivana Sakno. Sakhno. So I'm sure those names will become more household names and I will be able to pronounce them more accurately as we get closer and closer to the series itself. Very good. Let's see. Dave says, send me a lot of these posters. They have me pumped. I know. Seriously, they would look so good in my classroom. I'm going to... Disney, if you're listening, I'd love to have those posters. Send some to David, too. Josh says, the galaxy of cosplay options. Can you just imagine how awesome they're going to be? And if you'll notice, I believe they have said that lightsaber is not... I think it's orange. I don't think it's red. I think it's the first orange canonical lightsaber that we've seen on screen. So, check it out. I mean, it looks like it to me. Blake says they nailed the Sabine casting. Totally agree. Gary's here. Hello, Gary. Great to have you. He says, waiting to see how Sabine's character is developed. I am too. And I'm wondering sort of where that is, where the show is compared to what happens at the very, very end of the final episode of Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. So there you have it, friends. Let's go ahead and jump into some merchandise. Now, merchandise-wise, there's not a lot of new announcements that I saw that I wanted to share with you, but you may have seen, did Plo Koon have an orange lightsaber? I don't believe so. Pretty sure his was blue, if memory serves. I could be wrong. But I think it's blue. Like, someone feel free to jump in there and let us know. So I've got a new coffee sponsor. You may have seen the announcement on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook earlier. But this is Thomas Coffee. I don't work with any companies unless I very much believe in who they are and what they do, how they treat their customers, and of course, the quality of the product itself. And this is not hyperbole, my friends. They sent me some Thomas Coffee, a nice little perk of working with them. And I had 3 cups of coffee. And the reason that's a big deal, besides the plumbing situation, just kidding, is that I honestly, my entire life, I have 1 cup of coffee, I'm good to go. I've been having 2 and 3 of these every morning because it's really, really good, like legitimately good. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to promote this new sponsor that I work with. It's not that at all. I mean, I would certainly talk about them if I was being sponsored, but no, they are awesome. And so here's an example of what the coffee looks like. This is the French vanilla. They have a ton of different flavors, and they're all. I've had the French vanilla, I've had the cinnamon, and I've had their standard, and it is outstanding. So that is what it looks like. Thomas Coffee. Please go to thomascoffee.com, and just for listeners of Coffee with Kenobi, if you put in the code DANZCWK10, you will get 10% off your order. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. Go ahead and order that. Enjoy it while you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi every morning. Again, that's thomascoffee.com. Put in the code DANZCWK10 for 10% off. All right. So now, Aaron said he thought it was blue too. I thought that Plokin's lightsaber was blue. Josh is quoting Airplane. Dan never has a second cup of coffee at home. I'm very impressed. That is a great movie. Very funny. Do they have espresso? So they have carrot cups. They've got the actual grounded coffee, and then they've got the coffee beans themselves. So I can't remember if they have espresso or not. They've got a ton of stuff on the website. So I would highly recommend you check it out, Josh. Let me know because I think that would be good. My son has an espresso machine. He loves it too. All right. Spicing things up again. One of the perks of having the summer off is that it gives me time to sort of work in the studio and play around. But here's the intro to our top 5 segment. You know what? Maybe I showed that last week. I can't remember, but it was just fun. So yes, Josh, give him a try. Let me know. Don't forget DANZCWK10 for 10% off. So we're doing top 5 Star Wars podcasts. I want you to showcase your favorites. And I promise this is not false modesty or anything like that. I appreciate and love so much what an incredible fan base and the wonderful following that Coffee with Kenobi has. I don't take it for granted. I very, very, very much appreciate it beyond words. But for this show, I'm hoping that you don't mention Coffee with Kenobi. I really want to showcase and spotlight all these awesome Star Wars podcasts that are out there that exist. And here's the thing. For my list, I didn't actually make a list. I'll show you what I mean. And there's a reason for that. I've never actually done that where I didn't actually include anything in a list. Hansel and Carbonite. Oh, I guess I didn't update these. Oh, boy. Because I don't want to leave anybody out, right? So I'm putting your 5th choice. I'm not going to officially name them for my list, but I want to spotlight your list. As many Star Wars podcasts, I've never heard a Star Wars podcast I didn't like. I have so many friends in this industry. I have so many friends who have new, existing, and legendary Star Wars podcasts, and I don't want to leave anybody out. I'm really worried about that. So I'm not going to make a personal list. I'm going to spotlight all of your lists and sing their praises. There's a lot of wonderful Star Wars podcasts out there. Number 5 for David, Skywalking Through Neverland. Richard and Sarah are energetic, love Star Wars, and are good people. Yes, they are. I've had the good fortune to spend a lot of time with them. Got to explore the Halcyon with them for the media trip and lots of other things. They are awesome. There you go. Love it. See, keep them coming. Skywalking Through Neverland. Be sure to listen to them if you haven't already. This is going to be a massive chance to yell from the podium about your favorite Star Wars podcasts. Colby says, sorry, time to go. Great to see y'all here. My top Star Wars podcast, Roll Base Card, Podcast Stardust, Force Ghost Conversation, Star Wars Reactions, and Idiots Array. Great people, great podcasts. Take care. All awesome. Colby, love it. Those are all great. I love all those podcasts and people. Fantastic. Mary's number 5. Princess and Scoundrel plus Thank the Maker. These 2 podcasts are in the same network. Had the great pleasure to meet Thank the Maker guys at Celebration Anaheim. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. And I've never heard of them. So this is great. I can check them out too. I appreciate it. Liberty is here and she says, hey, Dan, I have that hat. So Liberty, it's great to see you. True story. I saw the hat in Disney. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I saw you wearing it when we were on Batu that day. And I was like, that hat is awesome. So you influenced me to buy this hat. So Liberty, it's on you. Love it. Josh says, full of Sith. Of course, the legendary full of Sith. You know what? I need a drink. So I'm going to show you a quick commercial. It's a trailer of this week's CWK Pour Over. We talked about the new Barbie film. Maybe. There we go. Okay, of course, when I try to sneak off and get a drink, suddenly it goes kaput, but I have a plan. I have a plan. Margot Robbie, of course, the amazing Margot Robbie. And then playing Ken, of course, is Ryan Gosling. It's too bad they couldn't find attractive people to play these two roles. Well, what can you do?
Dan, I heard you turned it down.
They did their best.
I did. It was. I think they looked into
busy guy.
They looked in the archives and they saw that I had a unibrow when I was younger, and I thought, well, we can't.
Ken has blonde hair. I mean,
So this is a huge movie. Let's talk about. There's a lot to talk about with this thing. It's really the biggest opening for a female director. It's the biggest opening of the year. There's all kinds of records attached to this thing. But before we get into the movie itself, what did you think when you first knew there was going to be a Barbie movie, and what was your level of anticipation, bemusement, excitement? How did you feel before seeing this movie? Were you even considering seeing it? Corey, let's start with you.
Oh man, if you've got kids in your house, they have heard of this. This has been the summer event of 2023.
Awesome. All right, good deal. Well, thank you. I had to run and get a drink. I'm back. I'm doing well. So here we go. Let's get back with more of your number 5. Number 5 for Ben. Wampus Larry says they don't listen as much anymore. They're the first ones I found. They got me into the podcasting world. Excellent choice, and they have a great logo. Anthony's podcast Stardust is excellent. Dennis and Jay have an episode on just about everything related to Star Wars. It's true, and they are awesome. I love them. They're great people, great friends. Aaron says this is hard because there are so many. They're not in any particular order. I'll start with podcast artists. Exactly. That's why I'm taking a cop-out. But if we're talking about here on the show, I think they're awesome. I only found 4 that I really listen to, so I don't have a 5. That's okay. That's okay, Liberty. Blake's 5 is a YouTube channel, since I've only got a top 4 podcast specifically. Thor Skywalker is a great YouTube channel I've listened to for years. He gives great views on lore to news. See, I hadn't heard of that. This is great. This is helping me to learn. Daz is 5. Forcecast after CWK. This is one of the first Star Wars podcasts I ever listened to. Ryan and Daniel are great. It's always a treat to see them pop up on my feed with their fun and unique style. Yeah, they are awesome. I know Ryan pretty well. Daniel I know a little bit, but Ryan I know pretty well. He is an awesome guy. I love your podcast, or I love your profile picture too, Daz. All right, let's go to number 4. It won't surprise you to know that I forgot to change the number 4, so I'm going to drag it in there. Boom. There you go. So what is your 4th choice? Mary says, everyone's number 5 has helped me check off a bunch off my list of about a dozen. Thank you. See, exactly. This is great. 4 for David, Star Wars Bookworms. Longtime Star Wars book podcast with Aaron Goins. Not as much going on lately. Aaron does a great job reviewing the books, yes. Also a really nice man. Cool dude. He knows his stuff. So that is a great option. Josh's is a Cantina Cast. I remember the Cantina Cast when it first started with Joe and Mike. And it's gone through a transition. Now they got the hosts now are awesome guys. It's really, really nice. Really smart and just always on top of things. I love it. Let's see. Mary's Forza Resistance broadcast. I also met up with them at Anaheim. They were very, very nice, very friendly, and great energy. Number 4 isn't really a podcast from Liberty. It's a YouTube channel and Facebook group, anything from the virtual cantina. So glad to see you on there, Dan. That's right. That was fun. That was last week with Mark. A great time. Ben's 4 is Around the Galaxy with Pete. Flutzery. Pete is one of the nicest people in the galaxy. I agree. And he uses this platform for charity too, which you have to appreciate. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do. I was on the Podathon last year. And this year, they've got a great show. We're still focusing on stuff here with St. Jude, but yeah, they are awesome. Cato, I only listened to a few, but I met the two guys who do the indie podcast at Terrificon. They speak highly of you, Dan. Well, thank you, Cato. I appreciate that. That's really kind. Anthony says Sky Talkers does an amazing job researching their shows. Definitely worth listening to for amazing perspectives on Star Wars. Yes, Charlotte and Caitlin are very, very nice. Very cool. And they know their stuff. Aaron says next up would be the IndieCast. I love the IndieCast. Love Ed Dawsa. I had him on the show about a month ago. He helped get me into podcasting. He's the best. Blake says the Star Wars Report, the host Riley shut down the show last year, which was heartbreaking, but they gave me years of great content. Riley is an awesome guy. Yeah, I know that was a big shocker when they shut down. Daz is for one hell of a fanfic. This pod was my introduction to the world of fan fiction. Lauren and Steph break down a different fanfic every month. I love hearing their takes on the alternative Star Wars stories they read. This is cool. See, I hadn't heard of this either. Love it. Mary says, Blake, Riley, and Aaron have a Disney podcast that is really good. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's very good. David says he agrees with Blake about Star Wars Report. Wish it was still on. Yeah. Josh says, Riley will be back. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, interesting. Well, Josh and Riley are good buddies, so keep yourselves tuned in, friends. Keep yourselves tuned in. Let's go to number 3. Oh, boy. There you go. Your third choice for top favorite Star Wars podcast? I will let you type in your responses. Wondery's Inside Star Wars was excellent. Yes. Yes, it was. That's a good callback. That came out a couple years ago, right? Yeah, because they worked with the show a little bit. I had the creator on. And he was a really nice guy. And that was very entertaining. They have one about Inside Jaws, which is fantastic. Mary's 3 Star Wars Sessions. Ross got me hooked on these guys from the UK. Very entertaining. Noted. And great shout out for Josh. Aaron's next is a Rebel Base card. I think Greg on the Rebel Base card is about as good as it gets with fostering community. So that is a good call. Liberty, our boys Aaron and David and Star Wars Reactions, loving the podcast and trying to catch up on older episodes. Oh, cool. I love it. It's always fun to hear people going back and hearing older episodes. So that's great, and you'll love them. Aaron and David, as you know, since you voyaged with David and got to hang out with Aaron at the meetup, are awesome. Josh simply says, yep. Anthony's next one is Rebel Base card. He says, Greg has such a great niche in the community, which is so fun to listen to. I totally agree. Ben 3 is full of Sith. Holly and Brian are just great people, and Holly has to be one of the most talented in the fandom, yes, and one of the funniest. She's got a great laugh. She's really fun. Loves her Rhodians. Dad says, Star Wars Reactions. Hey, I know those guys. Aaron and David always have tons of great commentary and insights to share on the latest Star Wars news and releases. Plus, there's a dad joke at the end of every episode. Uh-oh, don't encourage him. What more could you want? David 3 is Star Wars Splash Page. Matt and Jeff are the best at covering comics. Yes, and they're two of the best people around. They're awesome. Love those guys. Josh also loves the Wondery Jaws one. That was great. I remember that one so well. I remember listening to it every week when I was mowing. It just had a big impact. Blake 3 is the Force Cast. They aren't as regular as they used to be, but really enjoyed those Florida Boys' show. They are Florida Boys, and they're awesome. Cato says she fell for the Rebel Force podcast Oxygen episodes, which are a masterclass on John Williams' music for the saga. That is a good call. Yeah, they did a great job with that. David Liberty is giving you a shout out, my friend. Mary says, Daz, Davies, Aaron Harris, dad jokes rule. David says, Daz, you rock, and Daz does rock. And he's a dad. Liberty loves the dad jokes, Kiribati. They are pretty fun. And Aaron is just drinking this in like he just got off the sands of Tatooine, enjoying this refreshing. Aaron says, see, David, people do like my dad jokes. Yes, they do. Hey, I love them too. I've never asked you this, but how do you come up with them? Do you Google them? Do you make them up? You're pretty clever. I could see you making them up. So, just think about it. All right, I'm going to ask you about that sometime. Let's go to number 2. You know what? I'm just going to do this. There you go. What is your second choice? Again, I am not trying to cop out. I have a lot of love for a lot of these Star Wars podcasts, but I don't want to leave anybody out for sure. So I'm just enjoying showcasing yours. And many of these Star Wars podcasts you've listened to or mentioned are friends of mine. And I absolutely love them and do what I can to support them as well. So Aaron says a little bit of both, a little behind the scenes of Star Wars reactions. Anthony's next one is Hyperspace Heroes Podcast. Those folks do a great job celebrating Star Wars, which is infectious to listen to. I love that. Big fan of that. Mary says Tarkin's Top Shelf is great for book reviews as well. Yes, they do an excellent job over there. And they've been doing that for a long time. Becca and our friends over there. Aaron's next up is Talking to Myself, the James Arnold Taylor podcast. I love him. Love Jad, of course. How could you not? Benson's Father-Son podcast. Keith and Kerwin have to be one of the most inspiring duos to grace the airwaves. Totally agree with that. Absolutely. David's podcast Stardust, Jay and Dennis are so good with their episodes. Yes, they are. And they just are on fire, man. They always got them. Daz's number 2 is Rebel Base Card. Greg's podcast is really unique. Agreed. I enjoy hearing his trading card coverage, and I think Greg's one of the best interviewers in Star Wars podcasting. I agree with that. Plus, the extra episodes with Greg from Ion Can are always great for a breakdown and discussion of the latest live action or animation. Agreed. I love their show. I love their breakdowns. Liberty's podcast Stardust, number 2. Recently started listening and got hooked. Oh, cool. Yeah, Dennis and Jay are awesome. Kano and Mrs. Lattes with Leia, which was a must each week. The female perspective was rich. They were awesome. I loved having Amy and Dre on the Coffee with Kenobi network when we had that. Blake's 2 is Star Wars Theory. He's got the biggest Star Wars YouTube channel and a really fun podcast. Everything from what is stories to news commentary with the Den of Nerds YouTube channel. I didn't know as much about the YouTube angle or YouTube portion of fandom besides Star Wars Explained, of course. So that's cool. All right, let's go to number 1. You are going to list your top Star Wars podcast. I will pull in number 1. There we go. I'm going to take a drink while you start posting. And while you're posting, send me some positive thoughts and prayers and vibes because I'm on the Taylor Swift wait list to get tickets tomorrow. I didn't get the actual code, so that's a bit of a bummer, but hopefully the force will be with me. Send over your positive Swiftie vibes. Thank you. I'm a recent fan, but a big one. Crazy. Aaron's number 1 is the soundtrack show. David W. Collins, of course. I can't believe that hadn't come up yet, but my guess is it will start coming up now because he's awesome. Talk about an insider who teaches things. Liberty says, sorry, Dan, but CWK is my most listened to podcast. I know you said we didn't have to on the list, but it's just the truth. Well, Liberty, please don't be sorry. That's very nice. I'd really appreciate that. Don't expect that. Very kind. Really means a lot. Anthony, Force Center next to CWK, they're my biggest inspiration. That's cool. If you're looking for excellent deep dives into stars and look no further, I agree. They're awesome. Jennifer's a great friend of mine. We were in the Target commercial together. Jess says, I hope you don't have bad blood. I see what you did there. Let's see. Ben is going to break the rules, and he says he only has 5 stars podcast, so I had to put CWK first, but I also like the soundtrack show. Hey, again, no policy necessary, my friend. Really appreciate it. David's number 1 is Rebel Base Card podcast. Greg has a perfect voice for radio and podcasting. Agreed. And he's a great friend and supporter of other people's podcasts. Oh, yeah, he's among the best. He's so great at that, and I've been sure to tell him. Daz's number 1 is Cantina Cast. Yes, Albert and Jonesy are awesome. We met them at the podcast meetup at Celebration last year. I remember that because I think Jonesy or Albert came over and told me that you were over there, and I came over and got the good fortune to meet you, Daz. Says I've been listening to their pod ever since and love being a part of their community. 2 of the best people in fandom. I enjoy their in-depth analysis of the latest news and releases. They have a third host, Lauren, who's equally awesome and does the best Star Wars book coverage out there. Oh, that's cool. Love it. Mary's a huge tie. Star Wars Reactions Podcast, Stardust, Force Ghost, Conversations, Rebel Base Card, Colby Cast, and Tatooine Suns. Number one above all, CWK. Oh, Mary, thank you. And yeah, you mentioned some. You guys are making me smile. You had some great lists there. Cato says, Coffee with Kenobi. Of course, not even my spouse plays it in the car after being dazzled by y'all. Oh, wow. Appreciate that. Soundtrack shows a Faye, but is about many crossing genre podcasts. I agree. Going around the different ones. I almost thought we could include all kinds of podcasts, then it wouldn't be very Star Warsy. Number one, Blake is Row Force Radio. Found them the same day I found CWK. No kidding. I'm somewhat of a regular caller in our live shows, and I've hanged out in person a few times with some guys who work with the show, and I can call them friends, just like CWK family. That's cool. I know Jason and Jimmy. I know Jimmy Mac pretty well. Jason and I've only met once, but I'm glad you've made. I love hearing how our community is just one part of this massive Star Wars community pie. So it's really cool to see. And David also loves Mary and Liberty. David is a man of love and happiness, and it's authentic, and I love it. Mary David sends it right back to you. Or I feel like I'm passing notes now. Awesome. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you, everybody, for your sharing these awesome thoughts and comments. I hope you've all gotten some great ideas of Star Wars podcasts. If you haven't listened to them yet, be sure to follow, subscribe to them, and enjoy them because they are a ton of fun. Okay. Now, next week, last time, I almost forgot to give the topic for next week. So next week's top 5, why not? Let's do your top 5 Star Wars Lego sets. There's so many. It could be past, present, future. You don't have to own them or have built them. Just to you, they're like, when you think of Star Wars and Lego, you're like, no, this is one I would love to have. This one is high on my list. So next week, we're going to do your top 5 Star Wars Lego sets. I think it's going to be a blast. Looking for that. So now it is time to do some Star Wars trivia. So yes, because I am, let's see. Ben says, this is amazing because I have Lego Master Zone right now. No way. Perfect. Spoiler alert, they're all Rebels related. Aaron, if we know you, that's not a spoiler, buddy. Liberty, thank you, Dan. This is a great idea and gave me tons of new podcasts to check out. Hey, my pleasure. I'm always happy to showcase these awesome people out here. All right. Do I have a new intro? Of course. Oh, wait, what's this? Oh, yeah, same thing. All right. Let's do it. All right, see? I'm like nuts with these videos now. Larry says, no, I don't believe it. Yes, I know. It's shocking that Aaron has all Rebels related from, for the Legos. But he does. All right, do you know how the trivia thing works? I have a series of questions for you. And I tried to change them up a little bit. These are going to be, I think they're going to be a little more challenging. And I think they are going to be from lots of different eras of Star Wars, different, behind the scenes, from books, Disney Plus theme. I tried to vary it up a little bit more than I normally do. Okay. So you know the rules. Please don't look anything up. Just do your best, forget the rest, and we'll see how you do. Okay. My first question. First question is, who is the mayor of Mos Espa? And I would like to tell you that spelling counts, but we'll see how you do. So who is the mayor of Mos Espa? Who is the mayor of Mos Espa? Anthony says Mockshaiz, Shaiz. Okay, that is spelled correctly. Look at you, Anthony. Nice job. But is he right? He spelled that name right, but is that the mayor? Ben says the same thing. Cato is laughing and has no idea, and that is totally understandable. Totally understandable. Look at that. So while you're doing this, I'm like smelling this. It just smells good. But I'm not going to have coffee tonight because then I'll never fall asleep. Aaron says it's the mayor. Daz has no idea. Mary's not sure either. David agrees with Anthony. I'm going to say you should agree with Anthony and Ben. They usually do really well in trivia. And they are right. It is Mayor Mock Shaiz, Shaiz, and he is an Ithorian. Blake says Watto. We started from the bottom. That was a late one, but you appreciate it, Blake. I know you do. All right, next one. Liberty couldn't remember, but I think they are right. They are right. And he is from the Book of Boba Fett. All right. Question 2. What species is Ahsoka Tano? What species is Ahsoka Tano? Any idea what species Ahsoka Tano is? Bum, bum, bum. What species is Ahsoka Tano is your next question. Anthony says Togruta. David says Togrutan. Aaron says Togruta. Mary says Togruta. Ben says Togruta. Did I spell it right? You did not spell it right, but you did spell it right. Larry says Togrutan. Togruta. It is a Togruta. It's Togrutta. That is how you spell Togruta. And that is what Ahsoka is. And of course I spell wrong. I thought you did it on purpose. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt on that, Anthony. Ben, I thought it was funny. I saw yesterday and thought, is that how you spell that? I know. I mean, you really can't. There's no like intuitive way to spell these because they make it up as they go. Don't worry about the no clue for spelling. I totally get that, believe me. All right, here's number 3. How many AT-ATs attack the Rebel base on Hoth? How many AT-ATs attack the Rebel base on Hoth? How many AT-ATs attack the Rebel base on Hoth? Any idea? Ben says, is it 5? Cato says 4. David says 5. I'm waiting to see if Aaron says a lot. It probably felt like a lot to the rebellion. Blake says 4. Mary says 5. Liberty says 4. Anthony says 12. Dad says total guess 4. Any other guesses? I think that's everybody who's been weighing in. The answer is 5. The answer is 5 AT-ATs attacked the Rebel base on Hoth. I saw one thing where it said 6, but I pulled up the Empire Strikes Back and I didn't see 6. I counted. It's 5. All right, next one. We got 2 questions left. These next 2 might be a little more challenging. My Wormeraner, I can't say that, plays an AT-AT in the uncut version. Well, there you go. But how many walk away? Walk AT-AT. How many AT-ATs walk away? I think 2. All right, next question. What year did Star Tours open in Disneyland? What year did Star Tours open in Disneyland? Bonus if you can tell me the actual month and day too, but I'm just looking for the year. What year did Star Tours open in Disneyland? David says 1987. Okay, that's a good guess. Good start. Blake says 1988. Cato says 2002. Aaron's not sure. Mary says 87. Anthony says 87. David says March of 1987. Anthony says January. Okay, this is good. A lot more options here. A lot more options. Dad says 1990. Okay. Ben says a long time ago. Don't do it. Well, I'm not going to do it, but you did it, and everybody else is thinking it. So I feel like you did it. So that's good. All right, the answer. Liberty says they sound like they are right. Late 80s. The answer is Star Tours opened in Disneyland, California, January 9th, 1987. That's January 9th, 1987. So congratulations to those of you who got that right. All right, last one. Who wrote the Marvel Comics adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back? Who wrote the Marvel Comics adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back? I've actually got a paperback copy of it right here. I love the cover. So you can get a better look up there. Yep. There it is right there. It's a fun one. Classic. I read this thing so many times that it's practically falling apart. But I did find that I put a sticker in the front cover from back in the day. All right. Ben would like to phone a friend. Well, Ben, my phone isn't ringing yet, but you can go ahead and try. Dun, dun, dun. Again, who wrote the Marvel Comics adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back? Dave says, Anthony, good call. In January, I thought March. I couldn't remember. And I would have guessed probably 86, 87. Blake says, Watto. That's correct. You sound like Mason now. Mary is not sure. It still blows my mind that Mason was at the last CWK meetup. That's fun. Ben enjoyed that. Aaron said I didn't even know it existed, so I don't know. Oh, yeah, it came out in 1980, of course. It's awesome. I love it. It's got some cool dialogue in it. All the Marvel adaptations do. Again, who wrote the Marvel Comics adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back? I will give you another 30 seconds or so to give a guess. And while you're doing that, I am going to stall by talking in this manner. How am I doing? Again, so I will just share it with you. Who wrote? Nobody has a guess. Wow. He's a famous writer from the 80s in the Marvel Comics world, I would say. But he wrote and edited the answer to who wrote the Marvel Comics adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back? Archie Goodwin. Archie Goodwin is the answer. I started in 1980. That's your excuse. Hey, it's valid. And you've got it waiting for you, which is fun. Dad says, I had no idea. This hasn't been a vintage showing for my trivia knowledge. These are tricky ones. I tried to stump you. And it was fun. It's a good challenge. I thank you all. Deserve a round of applause for playing, for doing your best, and for growing in your knowledge. That's what it's all about. See, I start teaching again next week, and we're just practicing now. We're just practicing. So good. Let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, so this is your chance to ask me any Star Wars related questions that you can. I did show you the trailer for CWK Pro over this week. That is where we talked about Barbie. So CWK Pro, if you're not already a member of the CWK Alliance, you can join up at our Patreon page, Patreon or coffeewithkenobi.com/Patreon or coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance. And you can join the Alliance and have access to CWK Pro, a weekly exclusive audio and video podcast where we talk about all kinds of pop culture things. It's me, Corey Club, and Tom Gross. We have an absolute blast. This week on Coffee with Kenobi. Oh, that's old. I talked with Delilah Dawson all about Star Wars Inquisitor, Rise of the Red Blade. Had a great time doing that. How's the Taylor Swift queue? You know, so they send you you become a verified fan, and they send you a code. I didn't get the code. I got notified that I'm on the wait list, and I'm supposed to hope I get a text message tomorrow. So if I get in the queue, I will let you know. I'm looking forward to that. But I am going to see Bruce Springsteen tomorrow. I've never seen him, so I'm really looking forward to that. Am I going to get a chance to watch any Ahsoka episodes or do interviews in advance? So I'm not sure yet about the episodes, hopefully. Interviews most likely would have happened, and I feel pretty confident, but there's a writer's strike going on, and you aren't allowed to go on and do any interviews. So, unfortunately, that will not happen this go-around, but hopefully sometime in the future. Is Mason ready for school? He is. We actually did school supply shopping really, really early. We got to them before anybody else so that we had our pick of everything, and I think he's excited. Cato says, when do you bring up Star Wars in your class? Oh, gosh. Probably every day in some way, shape, or form. I've got posters everywhere. but I have designated units where we talk about Star Wars around the hero's journey. We do a big Mandalorian thing at the end of the semester, so they're a lot, Kato, absolutely a lot. Blake, not Star Wars related, but saw the new Ninja Turtles movie last week. I actually told Mason that you did, because I think you posted it in the cafe or something. He said, I loved it as a casual fan of the franchise. You have a history of the Ninja Turtles. I love the Ninja Turtles. I've got the original 12 black and white comics, first appearances. I love the animation. I've got some of the figures. I love them. Love the Turtles. Can't wait to see it. Anthony wants to know, do I think the Cubs will make the playoffs? Well, I'm optimistic they have a chance, but they're certainly improving, and that makes me really happy. They're struggling against the Mets, which is ironic because the Mets are not beating anybody this year, so who knows? David really enjoyed the interview with Delilah Dawson. She was quite vulnerable about her own life challenges. I know, and I figured you would appreciate that. She was awesome. I talked to her in passing, but never got a concentrated one-on-one time with her, and she was great. Super fun. Tales of Light and Life, the new High Republic short story book. I got a chance to review that. Look for that in the near future. That's a lot of fun, too. Speaking of fun, then we just found out that Paul Reubens was involved with Star Tours. Yeah, he's the droid. He's Rex, the original pilot of Star Tours, and the droid DJ at Oga's. So yeah, rest in peace to Paul Reubens. Prayers to you and your family. Definitely will be missed. Ben says, oh, that darn strike. I know. Hopefully they resolve it soon. Kato's wearing a Powered by Pizza shirt right now. Speaking of Ninja Turtles, Liberty's a big Orioles fan. I'd love to see them do well. Aaron wants the Braves to win. And you know what? Those are two really good teams. It's going to be really fun. Speaking of fun, if you are seeing all the pictures of the Halcyon Coffee with Kenobi trip that we did in June of this year, and you're thinking, man, I really want to do that next time. Well, next time is summer 2025, the Disney Wish. Coffee with Kenobi and Mouse Fan Travel are going to go on the Disney Wish. It has a Star Wars themed lounge, the Hyperspace Lounge, and it's supposed to be amazing. I can't wait to check it out with each and every one of you. Once Disney releases dates for this, I will be sure to post them and let you know when we will get you signed up. So, coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel is where you can go to get more information. Ben must not have a favorite team. Ben, I'm going to give you the Cubs. I think you should be a Cubs fan. So I will see you next week. Remember, we're going to give your top 5 favorite Star Wars Lego sets. Looking forward to that. Please go to coffeewithkenobi.com. Early, often, and throughout the day, I'm going to try to post so much more in the website to foster more on coffeewithkenobi.com, your place for videos, podcast announcements, Star Wars news, and so much more. Thank you, everybody. It's been great seeing so many of you tonight, and I look forward to the next time. See you next Sunday. See you next Tuesday. And remember, this is the podcast you're looking for. May the stars light your way, friends.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.